From the ashes of a fallen kingdom, a new world would be born. Amidst the inferno of Troy, the goddess Diana appeared to Prince Brutus in a dream. She spoke not of sorrow, but of a promise of verdant island far to the west, a second Troy waiting to be claimed. So began the Exodus. Brutus gathered the last of his people, survivors of a great war, and set them upon the vast, unforgiving sea. They navigated by starlight and prophecy, their ships tossed by tempests and their hearts tested by despair. For months they endured the ocean's wrath, a people without a home, clinging to the vision of a promised land. Their perilous journey was a crucible, forging them into a nation before they had even set foot on solid ground. After what seemed an eternity adrift, a dense, impenetrable fog enveloped their fleet. But as dawn broke, the mists parted, revealing a breathtaking sight, towering white cliffs, gleaming like alabaster in the morning sun. This was the island from the prophecy. Awestruck by the magnificent sight, Brutus named it Albion, the White Land. The Trojans disembarked, their weary feet sinking into the soft earth. Hope, a feeling long forgotten, surged through them. They found themselves in a paradise of rolling green hills, ancient forests, and crystal clear rivers. Yet, a profound and eerie silence hung in the air. The land was lush and beautiful, but it felt unnervingly empty, as if they were trespassing in a forgotten realm. The stillness was soon broken. Quirinius, Brutus's most formidable warrior and a renowned giant slayer, led a scouting party into the interior. As they ventured deeper, they made a disquieting discovery. Pressed deep into the soft mud beside a riverbank were footprints of an impossible size, each one larger than a Trojan shield. Their unease grew as they stumbled upon the ruins of a settlement, constructed from colossal, crudely hewn stones far too heavy for any mortal man to lift. The air grew thick with tension. Every snapped twig, every rustle of leaves sent a chill down their spines. They were not alone on this island. They were intruders in a land that already belonged to something much, much older. Hidden in the shadowy caves and rugged highlands of Albion lived a tribe of giants. They were a primal and savage people, ruled by strength and brute force. Their chieftain, the most fearsome of them all, was Gogmagog, a monstrous being 12 cubits in height. He ruled his brethren with an iron fist, his dominance absolute. From their high perches, the giants watched the arrival of the small, strange ships. They saw the Trojans disembark, marveling at their land. To the giants, these newcomers were not settlers seeking a home. They were invaders, a plague upon their ancestral domain, and their presence would not be tolerated. To honor their safe passage and give thanks to the gods, the Trojans prepared a grand feast. Fires blazed, music played, and wine flowed freely. For the first time since the fall of Troy, sounds of celebration echoed through the night. But their joy was short-lived. As darkness consumed the landscape, a thunderous roar erupted from the hills above. Gogmagog and his army of giants descended upon the unsuspecting camp, their massive forms silhouetted against the moon. Chaos erupted. The Trojans' disciplined phalanx shattered against the raw, untamed power of the giants who wielded uprooted trees as clubs. It was a desperate, primal struggle for survival under the cold, silent stars. In the heart of the maelstrom, Brutus's tactical genius shone through. He rallied his men, their fear giving way to the hardened resolve of Trojan warriors. Alongside him, Quirinius fought with the fury of a demigod, his blade a blur of silver and death. Against all odds, the Trojans formed a shield wall, their discipline and superior strategy slowly turning the tide against the giants' brute force. They pushed the attackers back, step by bloody step. In a surge of coordinated effort, a group of warriors led by Quirinius himself managed to surround the colossal chieftain Gogmagog, ensnaring him in nets and ropes, capturing the giant king alive. With the giant leader captured, Brutus saw an opportunity to end the war and assert his people's dominance. To avoid further bloodshed, he issued a challenge, a trial by combat. Their champion against the giants' champion. It would be a duel to the death, a definitive contest of strength and will. The giants, seeing their leader captured but still proud, agreed. The stage was set upon a high, wind-swept clifftop overlooking the churning sea. a place the giants called the Giants' Leap. Corineus, the Trojans' greatest warrior, would face the captured Gogmagog, the mightiest of the giants. The duel began. Corineus, nimble and swift, danced around the lumbering giant, evading Gogmagog's clumsy but devastating swings that shook the very ground. It was a contest of agility against raw power, of strategy against brute instinct. For a time, Corineus' skill kept him safe, but then the giant saw an opening. Gogmagog lunged, trapping the Trojan champion in a crushing bear hug. The crowd gasped as the sickening sound of cracking ribs echoed across the cliff top. Corineus' face contorted in agony, his breath stolen from his lungs, his body on the verge of being broken in two. But in that moment of pure agony, something primal awoke in Corineus. With a roar that was part pain and part unadulterated fury, he tapped into a hidden well of strength. In a feat of impossible power, he shifted his weight, got his legs under him, and lifted the colossal giant all 12 cubits and tons of him onto his shoulders. Staggering under the immense load, his broken body screaming in protest, Corineus marched toward the cliff's edge. He was a force of pure, indomitable will, a hero making his final, legendary stand. With one last, earth-shattering bellow that ripped from his very soul, Corineus heaved. He threw the colossal form of Gogmagog from his shoulders, sending the giant king cartwheeling through the air. The giant plummeted down, 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 finally crashing into the waves below with a tremendous impact that turned the churning sea crimson. A stunned silence fell over the cliffs, broken only by the crashing waves. Seeing their champion utterly defeated, the remaining giants fled in terror. They scattered into the deepest caves and highest mountains, vanishing from the annals of history forever. Albion was won. To honor his champion's heroic deed, Brutus granted Corineus the entire western peninsula of the island, a rugged and beautiful land that Corineus named Cornwall in his own honor. The Trojans stood on the cliffs, gazing toward a new dawn. On the banks of the River Thames, they would build their new capital, Troia Nova New Troia city that would one day be known as London, the heart of a new nation, the island of Britain.